What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna go over spinning rod and spinning reel, spin piece, how to spool it the proper way. But first, I wanted to show you something pretty cool. Just got this packaging from Depths. These are the new Corrigan Break 800s. So I'll show it to you right here. This is a giant crankbait. Let me open this up real quick. So that is a massive dude right there. So let's bust her open. You're out of the package. Packaging looks sick too. Here it is, Corrigan Break 800. This is a super cool bait just because of how big it is. Like, I might have a 10XD somewhere, but it's quite a bit bigger than a 10 plug. I've always just wanted something a little bit bigger when it comes to summertime deep cranking, and this is gonna fill that void for me. What's really cool right here is it has like an extra line tie or hook hanger. What that's for is adding like a weight, like a grenade weight, or you can put a split ring with like a free rig weight to get it down even deeper. But it's got ABS plastic underneath, and then it goes to a circuit board lip. So the ABS plastic just reinforces the lip right there. Super, super cool. Dives to 32 feet on 16-pound line. It got a bunch of really cool colors. Maybe we'll get a chartreuse powder blue in the future. I don't know. But that is a sick crankbait. Awesome weight transfer system. Gonna be a really fun one to throw. But without further ado, let's jump in this video, how to spool up a spinning reel properly. So for this video, we're gonna use a Vanford 3000. This is a really popular reel. Cut that tape right there, bust it open. This is probably the most popular spinning reel in the country, and for good reason. It's a great reel at a great price. Cool thing about Shimano is the trickle down technology. So some of like my favorite features in the Stella are now available in this reel, which is really, really cool considering a Stella is like 800 bucks almost, and this is just over 200. So really great reel, bang for your buck, absolutely perfect. It's still an amazing reel. It's got some of my favorite things like infinity drive. It's got Duracross drag. Duracross drag's pretty cool too. Like if you haven't seen it, basically what it is they took basically the best features out of felt and the best features out of carbon drag and made their own proprietary drag system, which is pretty sick. Super smooth. It's really smooth and it lasts a long time. That's kind of where they got. So there you have it, the Vanford right there, butter smooth out of the box. Basically when you open it up, it's got this little sticker right here with all the technologies on it. Pull that guy off, throw it away, and we'll get to spooling this guy up. Makes it a whole lot easier if you put it on a rod. For the rod that I'm going to use for demonstration purposes, it's going to be the Poison Adrena. This is actually the solid tip minnow shaking rod. This is a really cool action. Planning on doing some minnow shaking here this winter, so might as well get this guy spooled up for that. So without further ado, let's get into the first step. So I always have these laying around. This is just basically an old spool of fluorocarbon. Doesn't really matter what pound test, just it matters kind of that you have some fluorocarbon or mono. This is basically just not enough to put on an actual, to spool up another reel. So instead of throwing that away, I'll actually use this as my backing. And the reason I use backing is one, you don't want it to slip. And two, braided line super expensive, all lines super expensive now. So this is a little bit more budget friendly. Only use the amount of line that you actually need to go fish with. And also too, you can do something with these little scraps. So I'll show you this. Basically pull out your line and we're gonna run it through our guides. All right, got my line through all my guides. Now it's time to attach it to the reel. So I'm gonna open up the spool, open up the bail, just like so. And what I'm gonna do is tie just kind of a simple slip knot. So basically I'm gonna double my line like that. You can't really see all this fluorocarbon, all this great. But basically I'm going to double my line and I'm gonna pinch it. And with this tag in, I'm gonna just make an overhand knot like that and pull down tight. You can see here, it wants to slip and also go back out. So what I'm gonna do is open up the tag, open up this loop to where it will fit around my reel no problem, around my spool. With this tag in, I'm gonna tie an extra overhand knot. And basically whenever the reel gets to that knot, it'll stop slipping, if that makes sense. So regular knot, tag in, There's a little knot right there. I'm gonna snip that. So I'm gonna snip it right at that knot, at that little tag knot. So I still got my loop. Then I'm gonna put that loop around my reel, just like so, and I'm gonna pull tight to where it slips and then it catches that knot, and then we're good to go. And then I wanna place it directly in line with your roller right here, if that makes sense. You can kind of see it. I want it to be as flush and kind of a direct connect as possible. So here's where a lot of people mess up. On a bait casting reel, you want your line to come off the top like that. On a spinning reel, it's opposite. You want it to come off the bottom. And it just makes it so much easier because you're not gonna get as many line twists doing it this way. So make sure you do that. That's a tip that not a lot of people know. You guys can't see it, but I actually have a cardboard box, and I even have a trash can for my bigger spools that I use to help spool up. Basically, it just keeps the spool perfect. You wanna make sure whenever you're pulling line off the spool that it's not gonna rub up against anything and damage your line. But this being our backing, it doesn't matter nearly as much, but we wanna make sure it still comes off the spool, off the bottom. So basically we're gonna apply pressure. And here's another tip I didn't mention. Make sure to tighten your drag down. Sometimes they come a little loose from the factory, so tighten it down. We'll play with that before we get a fish on kind of how we like it. But I'm gonna try to keep it as even keel as possible, making sure that we're filling in all those gaps. Here's another trick that a lot of people don't know about Shimano reels, and some other reels have it too, is you can see right there, there's a little indentation. There's actually two indentions. The first indentation right there is where you want to fill your backing up to. That's always like my line of sight. It just makes it super easy. That a lot of times I would, not put as much backing on, and I'd waste so much braid. I'm pretty much there now to that first thing. You can see there's a good bit of line on there, and I'm gonna fill the rest up with that Power Pro. Then now you're gonna pick your braid. This is 10-pound Power Pro. This is actually white. So a lot of the saltwater guys like. We've had white in the previous Power Pro, the original Power Pro, OG Power Pro 4-carrier. This is pretty cool. It's the super slick 8-carrier. It's a lot smoother, casts a little bit better. It's really cool. I'm glad we have it in the white now, because white is super sick. Because it's like chartreuse, but it doesn't fade. It's really cool. Take your braid and your fluorocarbon and tie them together. So you can tie whatever knot you want. Braid to leader stuff, I'm always FG knot whenever I'm tying for actual fishing. But for going in my spool, I still want a fairly small knot, but I don't want it to take a long time. I just tie this Alberto. It's not nearly as strong as the FG, but it's very quick. And when I'm respooling, I want to do this as fast as possible so I can get back fishing. Tighten it down, make that knot as small as possible. So same thing, I want to make sure that my line is coming off the bottom of the spool, not the top. Top is for bait casters, bottom is for spinning. We want to make sure we keep tension on the reel, of course. We want to make sure that none of that line is tangled up on my guides. And I'm actually going to scoot this back slightly, just so it's at a better angle. And I'm gonna start spooling. I wanna make sure that I'm gonna spool up into that second groove on the reel. All right, guys, there you have it. All the way to that second notch, just like you want. Spools on there tight. The reason it looks like you could be able to put more is because whenever you're using it, spooling it up in your garage or in your boat, you're putting so much pressure off the spool. So you're putting it on so tight. So when you get to go fish with it, you have a little bit more fluff in your line, and you'll actually have too much line on your reel without noticing it, and it kind of hinders your casting ability and kind of gets you a little bit more tangled, which is never fun. So that is how you spool up a spinning reel properly. Guys, I know this video is probably pretty basic for some of y'all, but we get a lot of questions in the shop all the time about how to spool a spinning reel, how to do it right. Sometimes people are not familiar with it. So I just want to take a second. And guys, I appreciate y'all watching the videos. If you have any questions with any of the depth stuff or the Shimano stuff, Power Pro stuff, Ryugi, any of my sponsors, please feel free to reach out to me. Love to talk fishing with you guys. I appreciate y'all watching the channel. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. And subscribe and let me know what y'all think I should talk about next.